Hey, we're back here. We got Joel and our Powell here from NR Entertainment, which is, Ninja Rider Sound, professional disc jockey services. But you're writing a book,
Yes,
right?
I am.
I mean, we're all about the DJ services,
Yeah.
which is fantastic, by the way, because this is the brochure, right? But look what it's talking about.
Joy,
love, joy, and unity, right there.
Everything that
So,
we
I mean,
should
come
be.
on. How can you say no to that? But what's the book you're writing?
It's called Black Empowerment and Minority Issues.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure. It's 7 distinct chapters based on basically 7 problems that I feel that are plaguing minority communities.
Okay, let's talk about it. Okay, what and what are some of those problems?
Well, families. The first chapter is basically based on creating family success.
Yeah.
Second chapter is based on seeking your passion over your employment. And the third chapter is basically based on enhancing your faith. Chapter 4 is based on bettering your health. Chapter 5 is based on increasing your financial stability. Chapter 6 is based on developing better relationships. And Chapter 7 is based on understanding and respecting the law. Yeah. So
Which
it's basically
law?
Yeah.
Which law?
Oh, well, the law of authority, basically.
Okay.
With dealing with police and law enforcement and such things like that.
Yeah. Now, how do you do that? Wait till I finish.
Okay.
But because it's true. It's true. I mean,
Yeah.
we've had. There is racism in
Yes.
this society.
Yes, it is.
And I anticipate that it might be difficult for some people to maintain a climate of respect to the authorities when they're feeling that there's like systemic racism coming at them. So how do you deal with? How do you answer that question?
The way if you want to learn about, everybody has rights. Every person out there has rights, and you just have to know your rights. And I think a lot of people out there do not know their rights when dealing with the authorities, dealing with police, dealing with law enforcement, dealing with security, dealing with all forms of law in general. Yeah? A lot of people do not know their true rights. So a lot of times they put themselves in situations where they kind of give up their rights,
Right.
and then their rights get violated because they're completely unaware. Like there's times where people don't know that if a police officer stops you and you're in your car or whatever the case may be, they cannot search your vehicle unless they have a warrant to do so. But a lot of people get out their car and let them do what they're doing, and times things get complicated, and later on they find out, I never had to do that. I could have stayed where I was. I could have called for an attorney too, and they still wouldn't have to do that. So there are a lot of discrepancies involved in that, and where it comes to people need to understand their rights. I think once you understand your rights, you're able to get along more with the police and know that it's not about you disrespecting them or them disrespecting you. It's just you knowing what your job is just as much as they know what their job is.
Right.
Interesting.
Knowing your position and
Yeah.
standing behind it,
exactly.
standing tall for it.
I can see where a person who's being feels that they're being discriminated against by the authorities, right?
Like,
and
give
this
an
is
example.
Well,
What
this
do you mean? Like,
I don't want to give an example right now.
I mean, I don't know.
Maybe I will, but let me just finish with the question though. But where if you're a minority, if I'm a minority, whatever. Minority who's feeling that the system itself, the establishment, the authorities are coming down on them with systemic racism.
Yeah.
I think if that was happening to me, that part of me might not want to return the favor, or might lose my faith, lose my desire to support the establishment.
Yeah.
And this is where I think actually terrorism comes from.
Yeah.
When there's a group of people that are so disenfranchised that they would rather tear the system down than support it, than support the rule of law.
Yeah.
So how do you how do you answer that question?
Because you see, the thing is, again, a lot of people out there know when they become frustrated with the system. Because, see, for example, if you want to get a hold of somebody in the system, for example, if you're trying to file a complaint if your rights are violated, just the process of going through those stages becomes so tedious that you decide to say, you know what, forget it. I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Because the chains of command is such a long road to get to that you just say to yourself, I can't be bothered with this. This is not worth doing. And that's where people start developing that level of anger inside of themselves, where they start saying, I don't care. I don't want to do this no more. I don't need to respect no police. I don't want to hear nobody has to say to me. I'm just going to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, though, is that the police are always going to be in the right because that's their job. They're in the right. They're the law. So if you decide to say you're going to do whatever you want, you're going to risk the consequences of getting arrested or getting into trouble by them. So it's about learning your own composure and knowing yourself.
Right.
Being able to understand that you have to understand, no matter what they're doing, you be the person that you are. You know, like when it comes to terrorism, I agree. You know, terrorists come to the stage where they're like, nobody's listening to us, nobody's responding to us, everybody's violating our rights, so we're just going to do whatever we want.
Right.
And then they create complete anarchy after that. But at the end of the day, it goes back again. They're risking their consequences. Some of them are losing their lives just to prove their point, which is completely ludicrous at the end of the day, because they're going to, like, for example, at 9/11, you're going to fly yourself through a plane to prove your point. You know, how are you winning there? You know, you're not winning because, again, the system is still there to live. They're still there another day. So no matter what you do, you have to learn that there's a chain of command to get your point across. You know, like, I believe strongly in the days of when people used to do sit-ins to prove their point. You know, stay in one place and say, we're not moving till somebody listens to me. You know, or writing letters, you know, going straight to people's front doors, knocking on them, you know, I need to talk to you. Like, instead of taking these dramatic steps of creating violence to solve problems. Like, violence to solve problems only leads to more violence and
like
more problems.
You were saying, you know, if we keep it, if we repress it, you know, it starts to build and the tension starts to rise, and then, you know, we can't really control it. It's just like an atomic ticking inside of us, and once it breaks, you know, you're just going to bang, right? So people do have to be taught, I think, you know, earlier on, how to voice themselves accordingly, or how to voice themselves to be heard, so that we don't, you know, we don't rebel, we don't.
Exactly.
Because no matter what, you know, when you don't know your rights, or when you feel empowered, that's how the law empowers you, right? Not knowing your rights. You know, when you talk about police, or when you talk about discrimination, race, that's individual. It's not like, it's not embodied by the government. It's embodied by you running into somebody who has racial discrimination against you, or whatever other racial group, right? So it depends on how you're going to want to react to that, you know? Are you going to fight it? Don't fight it, because he's got the power. You know, he's got the rifle. He could do whatever he wants. You know, and you know, the choice is, do we fight back with ammunition? No, we don't fight back with ammunition, I don't think. You know, Christ never had to walk around with, you know, a gun in his hand.
No, he didn't.
You know, he had to walk around with the Word. You know, the Word of God, or whatever it may be. But peace rallies are supposed to be about peace, not about, you know, violence.
Exactly, you know.
But you know, I don't know. it's.
No, you're right, because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, like I said, you know, violence only leads to more violence. So you have to understand how to get your point across. And I think the greatest way of getting your point across is to be educated. Because a lot of people now, I'll use myself as an example. You see me walking on the street dressed like this, I put myself right out there. This hat's on like this, you know. A cop sees me, he's not going to look at me and think that I'm if a cop sees me and he's actually trying to practice discrimination, he's not going to think I'm a guy who's writing his own book. He's going to probably ask me, what am I doing around here? What am I up to? Ask me some questions, but because he's not trying to take the time to get to know me as a person. But if he hears me speak to him and respond to him in a way that he never heard before, then he's going to have no interest but to listen to me.
Right.
Whether he likes it or not. Because I'm not, my clothes don't make me who I am. I make myself who I am.
Right. But, and you know, how we approach it. Like, if somebody approaches you and